Maryland makes the cut for a four-star offensive lineman.
You are Locked On Terps, your daily podcast on the Maryland Terps. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, everyone? I'm Tre Moore, video content creator for 247 Sports and InsideMarylandSports.com, and host of Locked On Terps, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. So thank you for making us part of your day. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. As playoffs wind down, the sports stop sporting like we want them to. But this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. So visit FanDuel.com to get started. Jaylen Gilchrist released his top 3 schools, and Maryland football made the cut. Now, I believe that Jaylen Gilchrist makes our class, if we're able to land this kid, and I'll get into who he is. I know a lot of you guys know, but I'll get into all the details of Jaylen Gilchrist and what I think about him as a player. But if Maryland's able to land Jaylen Gilchrist, I think we go from having a really good 2025 class, having a really good class that I can't be mad at, and I'm happy with a lot of the different players that we have. But if Maryland's able to land Jaylen Gilchrist, we go from being it being a really good class to being like, hold on, wait a minute. This is elite. This is definitely Coach Loxley's best class yet. This is an elite type of class, and this is a class that if we are able to turn out these type of classes every single year, then we can compete in the Big Ten. And I don't want to say for Big Ten championships, but we can be a top 25 team consistently, and we can be a really relevant team in the Big Ten. I believe that if Jaylen Gilchrist commits to Maryland and how people are going to view our class, how I view our class, if we continue to get classes like this, then I think that we can be relevant in the Big Ten. But that's if Jaylen Gilchrist commits to Maryland, because I think if he commits, I think we're going to be hovering around the 16, 17, 18th ranked class, depending on when him and Zymeer Smith commit. We'll probably be around that 18th, 17th ranked class, and that is an excellent spot to be for Maryland. You're never going to be a top 10 class. That's just not who we are right now. We just don't have those types of funds. We don't have that type of NIL money. That's just not what Maryland football is about. But the news was that Jaylen Gilchrist announced his top 3 yesterday, and it was expected top 3. Everyone kind of thought that these were the schools that were in line to land Jaylen Gilchrist, but it was South Carolina, Maryland, and Georgia. So we're competing with some top-notch type of programs. We're competing against SEC schools and Georgia, South Carolina, 2 pretty good programs. The interesting thing about South Carolina, there's a little bit of a rivalry going on with South Carolina and Maryland. It's not like a real thing, but it's a thing where it's like we've been flipping some of their guys, like when we flipped Braden Lee, Barham, like different guys that we have flipped from South Carolina, and South Carolina doesn't like us, and so it's like a weird little thing. And every time we like get one of their guys, they always talk bad. So if we landed Jaylen Gilchrist, I could see a world where South Carolina fans definitely attack us. But competing against the SEC is not easy, but the Big Ten and the SEC are pretty close, I would say. I give the SEC a slight edge, but you either want to, if you're a high-level, top 300 recruit, 4-star type of guy, you either want to be in the Big Ten or the SEC. But I do believe that we're very much in it, that we're very much in the hunt for Jaylen Gilchrist. And I'm telling you, if we land this kid, our class is special. It, I think, is going to be the best class that Maryland has had. First of all, because number one, we get guys up front. We get 2 4-star types of players up front with Jaylen Gilchrist and Bryce Jenkins. And then Bryce Jenkins, I'm guessing, is going to play on the defensive line, and then Jaylen Gilchrist on the offensive line, where he's ranked really highly on 247 and on all the different websites. He's a 4-star on every single website. He's ranked as 91st ranked nationally. Like, that's a really high level player. if you're in the top 100, you're a dude. Like, you're expected to come in and maybe on the offensive line, it's not year one, but like year 2 or 3, you're expected to be a starter and be a high-level type of player. And he's ranked 3rd in the state of Virginia, according to the 247 rankings, and is also the 3rd interior offensive lineman, and has Maryland in his top 3. I can't tell you how important it is for us to be able to fight for this kid. And if we land this kid, how it can change this class and how it can really change the trajectory. I'm telling you, it takes our class from like being, like this is a good class. Like this is a really good class. This is probably still the best class that Coach Locksley has had to, this class is not only a really good class, but this is one of the better classes in the country. This might be the most underrated class in the country. And we have 4-star Malik Washington in our class, and he's the most important player in this class, no matter who we get. If we get Jaylen Gilchrist, whoever we get, Malik Washington is going to be the most important player. But for Malik Washington to play well, to have a good future, and we have a guy like Jaylen Gilchrist up front along the offensive line that we were able to land. It looks like, I guess he's going to be in the interior offensive line, so I'm looking at probably either a guard spot. But if we're able to get this type of guy with Malik Washington, with him blocking and continue to recruit up front like we are doing in this class, then we could be in a really good spot overall. I was reading the 247 scouting report. They said he has a particularly high ceiling when projected to the interior, but they can see a world where he could play outside. So it looks like at his highest level, he will be playing on the interior offensive line. And they said he trimmed down a little bit from 2023 to 2024. Long arm, which is really good. You want those guys to have long arm. And he says flashes a lot of power in the run game, and really overwhelms the high school competition with footwork in alignment with their hands. So he sounds like he has good technique. It sounds like he could come in like pretty ready to go. And that's not something that's normal for these offensive linemen. But it's not going to be easy at all to be able to land him. I'll be honest, he's projected to go to South Carolina right now. And South Carolina has a pretty high, all the South Carolina analysts on 247 put him as projected to go to South Carolina. On3 also has him predicted to South Carolina. But I do think that Maryland right now is second on the list. And I don't know exactly how we get in front of South Carolina. Coach Locksley's been able to do it before, so I believe that he's going to have a chance to be able to do it. It's not going to be easy to be able to do, but I do think that Coach Locksley is going to make a push for this kid. And the interesting thing is, he was on Twitter, and him and Malik Washington clearly have some type of connection going on, because if you go to his Twitter, you can see where he's like on the phone with Malik Washington, and he's tweeting like, should I shock the world at Malik Washington, and all these different things. So Malik Washington is clearly pushing heavy for Jaylen Gilchrist to come to Maryland. And I'll say it, I think Maryland's a better fit than South Carolina. He's a Virginia kid. He's from Virginia, so it's not far at all from Maryland. I feel like right now we have just a better South Carolina is a good team for sure, and they have some really good players, but I think we're better coached, to be honest. I think we're better coached up front. South Carolina's offensive line last year, very poor. And I just think that Coach Locksley has a real family type of method going on, where he really believes in these kids, and he really is able to get a tight-knit type of community with this team. And I do believe that it's a better program right now, where Maryland is a better fit for Jaylen Gilchrist for what I think that he can become. I understand South Carolina might have more NIL money and some different things like that, but I do believe that Maryland could be the better thing. But I'm telling you guys, if we land this kid, people are going to start talking about Maryland football's 2025 class. And I think the future will be really bright for Maryland. But the next step is actually being able to keep these kids, because we've gotten some high-level blue chip types of prospects similar to Jaylen Gilchrist. When I think about Jaysean Barham, plays a couple of really good years at Maryland, and then he's gone, and then he's at Michigan. When I think about Chop Robinson, we land Chop Robinson, it's really exciting. He's gone to Penn State. Like, we're going to have to be able to land some of these guys and be able to keep some of these guys like Jaylen Gilchrist, like Malik Washington, like Bryce Jenkins, like Zymir Smith, if we're able to land Zymir Smith, which it looks like Zymir Smith is heavily projected to Maryland. But I'm telling you, if we're able to land Jaylen and Zymir, this class would be so special because of its diverse skill sets. You have different players that play different types of positions and different importance. You got quarterback, you got offensive line, you got an athlete in Zymir Smith. So I really do think it could be something really special if we're able to land Jaylen Gilchrist. But if we don't land him, it's not the end of the world. This class still looks like Coach Loxley's best class yet, and we know that Coach Loxley's always good for a signing day flip. So even if we don't land Jaylen Gilchrist, there's still a potential that maybe we could find a way to be able to flip him or something like that. Same thing with maybe even Jeffrey Exenor, who's committed to Penn State. We could potentially find a way to flip him. And this class still has so much potential. We'll see how it ends up, but we're so close to having one of these elite types of classes, one of these classes that aren't like our typical, we're a 40th-ish class. We're close to being, Maryland has the 17th ranked class in the country, 5th best in the Big Ten or something like that. I'm really excited to see what happens, but for now, we're in the top 3, and that's important. You don't want to be ruled out. The top 3 is a good spot to be. Maryland's wide receiver production is almost certainly going to go down this year. I will talk about that after this ad from eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships, and is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. From superchargers, roof racks, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit, only available to U.S. customers. I think Maryland's wide receiver production is going to go down this year. And I don't think it's going to be the fault of the wide receiver. I'm almost certain about this. I feel pretty good about this take going into next year. And could I be wrong? Yeah, I could. But I believe that Maryland's wide receiver production is going to go down from last year. And I think that's pretty fair to say. When I think about Talia as a quarterback, and when I think about the Maryland offense over the last couple of years with Talia, I think that we threw the ball a ton. We led the Big Ten in passing attempts last year. We always would throw the ball a lot and some more. And I was looking at it last year, and I was looking at the passing numbers, and I was looking at the statistics that our wide receivers put up, and I was looking at the passing attempts Talia had per game, and it's pretty crazy. Like, against Ohio State, he has 41. Against Illinois, he has 39. Against Northwestern, he has 47. Against Rutgers, where we win the game 42-24, he still has 31. Against Charlotte, he has 36. Like, all these games, he is passing the ball a ton. And I think that's not necessarily a good thing. It's not necessarily a bad thing either. But I just think that we threw the ball a lot more than we are going to throw this year. I think those numbers are going to go down from mediocre to 30s on average. I say you would average about 33 passes per game, which I think is a high number. And I think that's going to go down a good bit from going into next year. Because when I look at our quarterbacks and when I look at our team overall, I don't see us passing the ball as much as we did. I don't see us coming close to the amount of passes that we had this year. And so this is where I come in with the wide receivers. I believe that Ty Felton and Caden Prather had really good years last year. Really impressive stuff. And I saw this thing where Caden Prather is apparently on some NFL scouts radars, and that doesn't surprise me at all. Ty Felton probably is too. Those are two guys that I think are NFL types of guys that will play at the next level and will do it at a pretty high level. But I really do, and I'm going back and forth, and I just don't see a world where they put up the same production as they did last year. One thing that's going to help is we don't have a clear number 3 type of wide receiver. I think that helps them in a lot of ways. I think that Octavian Smith is kind of that, and unless Octavian Smith kind of breaks out, I don't see a clear number 3. So these guys are going to get a lot of the targets. But one thing's for sure, defenses are going to focus on these guys. Ty Felton doesn't get to go under the radar anymore. He doesn't get to come into college football. Even though he was a junior last year, he doesn't get to come in and be like, oh, I played a little bit, but I'm not going to be number 1 on people's scouting reports and all that. And Caden Prather is not going to be probably in single coverage as much. People on 3rd and longs are going to put probably safety over the top. People aren't going to let him get the big play as much. I think people are really going to try and limit the big play out of our wide receivers because I think that's going to be a huge key to us winning games. They might say, if you don't give up big plays against these wide receiver core, this Maryland team's not good enough. Their quarterbacks aren't good enough to beat us. And I'm not saying that's true, but I could see how that could be true, if that makes sense. I could see a world where that is true. I'm not saying that will happen, but I can see a world where that happens, and I don't think it's crazy to say that is a possibility. And so I look at Ty Felton and I say, okay, he had 48 receptions last year for 723 yards. I don't see him getting that. And I know I want to be like, oh, he's going to be a 1,000-yard receiver, but college football, that's a lot harder. It's harder than the NFL, just less games, less opportunities. You're just not going to get as many 1,000 yards types of guys, but they still do it. Like, you still have a shot to do it. Like, if you're a Marvin Harrison type of guy, a lot of these NFL types of receivers, but I don't see him getting 700 again. I don't. I see it being closer to probably 600 for Ty Felton. He had 6 touchdowns last year. I see it probably closer to 4, and that's no fault on Ty Felton. I just don't think that we're going to play the same way. I don't think we're going to throw the ball nearly as much. I think we're going to run the ball a lot more, and then Talia was really comfortable with Ty Felton and Caden Prather. Caden Prather had similar numbers to Ty Felton, and his numbers it was pretty similar. He had 666 yards with 42 receptions and 5 touchdowns. I see that being closer to below 600. And I just think that we play different with whoever's the quarterback. I've been seeing some website, I forget where I saw, where it was like Billy Edwards is projected to be the starter for Maryland football. And I was like, where did we get that from? But if Billy Edwards is a starter, I almost guarantee that number is going to go down, maybe go down a good amount. Because we're going to really run the football with him if he happens to be the starter. But if MJ Morris is a starter, I still think that we do more quarterback run, more run game stuff. I think we get away from just passing the ball a ton. And I really do think that the wide receiver production almost certainly will go down next year without Talia. Not because the wide receivers are worse, just because we don't have the same personnel at quarterback, and also 5 new starters on the offensive line again. That always happens, but you have a Roman Hemby coming back, which always matters. So I do think that production does go down in the wide receiver room. But I guess we'll see what happens. Could I be wrong? I could, but I honestly doubt it with this. I have some questions that some Terp fans have asked me that I have written them all down. I will get into those after this ad from FanDuel. I love sports. I love them so much, I never want them to stop. But as playoffs wind down, we get fewer games, and the sports aren't sporting like I want them to. But FanDuel lets you keep sports going whenever you want, All you have to do is open up the app and dream up any type of bets that you want when you're in the mood. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with boosts or bonus bets daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. You guys have to take advantage of FanDuel. There's so many different types of deals that FanDuel has going on for you guys. So head over to FanDuel and start making the most of your summer. FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. So I have a couple of mailbag questions for Terps that Terp fans have been DMing me and have been sending to me on different types of platforms, and I will answer them to the best of my ability. But there are some interesting questions in here that I do want to talk about. The first question that I thought was interesting was talking about Maryland's 2025 class. And do I think that this class could potentially be a top 15 class when it's all said and done? And I thought about it a little bit, and he said, does it have any type of chance of being a top 15 class? And I was just talking about this earlier with Jaylen Gilchrist and saying that if we're able to land him, we could enter the top 17 types of classes. And I think that's fair to say. And to get to top 15, I think it's possible. There's a couple of things that would have to go our way that I honestly doubt go our way. When I think about, we would have to land Jaylen Gilchrist for sure. That will have us hovering around that top 15-ish mark. It doesn't quite get us there. And then I think about Blake Woodby, that is almost certainly going to Auburn, which is sad to say, but it looks like he's heavily projected to go to Auburn, but you got to find a way to probably get that kid to go to Maryland. I don't know how you would be able to do that. I don't know if you would be able to do that, but you probably would have to find a way to get that guy to be able to flip to Maryland. And then you probably would have to find a way, maybe like another 4-star somewhere like Jeffrey Exnor, and then Zymir Smith also to commit. If those guys, if you get either Jeff Exnor to decommit from Penn State or Blake Woodby to go to Maryland, if you get one of those two guys, I think you're in position. And then as well as Jaylen Gilchrist, and Zymir Smith looks pretty heavily favored in Maryland, along with a couple other guys, I think you have a chance. But I honestly doubt it, to be honest. Somebody asked me who is truly tight end one in this offense, because they know Preston Howard has been in the system. He's been pretty good as a backup tight end to Corey Dyches for a while, but they said Dalen Wade has also been really impressive. And I think there's not really a tight end one, to be honest. I think it's 1A, 1B type of thing. I think we're going to run a lot of 2 tight end sets this year because you're going to want both of those guys out on the field, especially because a bunch of receivers that are unproven besides Ty and Caden Prather. Besides those two, there's a bunch of guys that are unproven. So I think that you try and get those two guys on the field at the same time. I think a lot of 2 tight end sets that we've been doing before in our offense, I think that works well because I think that those 2 guys could certainly be 2 of our best pass catchers for sure. Somebody said, do you think that MJ Morris has an NFL future? If so, what round do you think he could be able to go in? So this is what his kind of ceiling is. And it's interesting. It's a hard type of conversation. I'd probably say no if my best guess. But if you play well enough, and he has more traits as Talia, so if he's able to put up some of the types of numbers that Talia was able to and show a little bit more of that ceiling and that higher upside, I do think he would have a shot at it. I mean, what is he, like 6'4"? He can run. He's got a pretty nice arm to him. And that's half the battle when it comes to the NFL. It's just looking the part, having the physical traits. That's a lot of it. And Talia didn't have that side. He had the statistics. He had a lot of good film and those different things, but he didn't have those type of traits. So I think that MJ Morris, if he can put up similar types of numbers, which not numbers, but just if he can play similar in the Maryland offense that Talia did, I think he would have a chance. I don't think he can put up the same numbers as Talia, to be honest, because I talked about it. I think we'll play a different way. But if I had to guess, I'd probably say he probably will try at the end of this if everything goes right at Maryland, if he's the starter. But I doubt that he kind of ends up on in the NFL, but it's an interesting kind of it's definitely an interesting type of topic. And then this is another question about the draft. Who do you think will be most likely to get drafted next year in the top 3 or 4 rounds? Then we have a couple of guys that have a shot. I think about Dante. I think that Dante has a shot to go. I think as well as I also believe that Ruben Hippolyte has a chance to go in the NFL draft in the top 4 rounds, and then our receivers, Caden and Ty Felton as well. But best chance, I'm really high on Ty Felton. I think he translates to the NFL. I think he has real type of speed. If Ty Felton has another really good year with a different quarterback, I think it'll be Ty Felton. But I appreciate you guys' questions. You guys can send me any questions that you guys want me to answer. But that's all we have for today. Thank you for listening to Locked on Terps. I hope you guys all have a great weekend. Thank you for being an everydayer and listening to this every single day. Locked on Terps continues to grow. I'm going to try and do some more player interviews soon. But thank you for listening all to Locked on Terps. Make sure you like and subscribe. But thank you for listening to Locked on Terps.